the Trident sigil. You're one of my father's brothers, aren't you? Then help him. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
My long-lost niece, you live! We thought you met the same fate as your father, and your mother, and your brother. Oh. Well, how about we turn the tide and exact terrible revenge for poor old Hades and his kin? When first I heard our last best hope for stopping Kronos was the second-born of Hades and his queen, I said, wait, who? So then they had a girl. The Titan must have struck your father's house right after you were born.
I heard so much about you, Uncle. But you're not just very strong, you're generous as well. I am grateful, and would give you this.
Oh, little niece, how thoughtful, but deeply unnecessary. Yet now I'm feeling generous, so here, this one's for you.
Well, this is quite a catch.
You never used to have much contact with your father. So when Hades ceased communicating with Olympus, we figured he was back to his old ways. Turns out that old sneak Kronos got him. There was nothing we could do.
Granddaughter, Poseidon here has been regaling me about the time his seas drank half the land. Ah, such a flood that was. Perhaps our strengths can be combined again.
Oh, there's no perhaps about it, Demeter. We'll weather this storm yet. I'd just as soon whip up another great big flood for old time's sake. It's just too many mortals these days. Niece, you needn't be a witch to see your family's in dire straits right now. You needn't be a witch at all if you ask me. I'd choose another way of life if I were you. An old underworld bookman yet eludes the grasp of Kronos, does he? Turn to a life of the piratical smuggler in these dark times, huh?
May I?
Whatever gold you paid ought to be at the bottom of the sea. Who does that Kronos think he is, showering mortals with shiny metals? I fail to see why coin need change hands for a blessing from your uncle, though come to think such blessings are most valuable indeed. Our family's scattered to the winds a bit, my niece. You've heard from those of us upon this mountaintop, but Zeus sent several of his children to take care of things down closer to the base. They're probably just fine. Where are you, niece? The bottom of the sea? Or very close to it? Must be even darker than what you're accustomed to. And the terrible pressure. Not even I can stand it for too long. So how can you? Why, little niece, you sailed down there faster than the trimmest mortal ship. Well then, what say we scour clean this little corner of the sea? Ask any god upon Olympus whether we think you ought to join in our defense here, or take the fight to Kronos in your father's realm, and you'll get a range of views. A range of highly civil views, which we don't fight about at all.
Uncle Poseidon, it is an honor to have earned your blessing, especially for all the battles still to come.
Well, I'm left to wonder who it was that taught you such good manners, niece. You're like a proper little lady. I'm impressed. All this flotsam about Kronos abducting the Three-Fates. Impossible. A ploy to take us off our guard. Don't go believing everything you hear, my niece. Where on our green earth do you reside now, niece? It resembles some of Demeter's rolling fields of grain. Who knew old Hades had a pasture growing in the underworld, if but a rather dismal-looking one, near as I can tell? Why, you possess a rod of fishing there. What lingering doubts I had of you just vaporized. What are we even fighting for, if not the right to fish whensoever we desire? You've seen it. Our mountain's like a cross between a luxurious palace and an impregnable fortress. The so-called legions of Kronos will be getting through these walls. Remember how I said that we don't ever fight with one another on Olympus, little niece? Well, that might have been a slight exaggeration on my part, but I stand with Hera on this one. We think your efforts are best spent up here. We heard the news that you found old Hades, niece. The Most excellent news, I should say. Except the part that he is bound in Tartarus, that isn't excellent at all. We'll get you out of this, brother. My niece, we all must tirelessly work to counteract the harm Kronos has wrought. Some even more tirelessly than the rest. Take, for instance, my nephew Hephaestus here. I told him he could have a word if he got back to hammering after.
See how generous our Lord Poseidon is? Everybody needs a decent Uncle Arte. Let me know should you ever find one. Now, we best get back to hammering things out.
I trust your boatman there appreciates that the smooth sailing he's experienced in his mercantile routes is no coincidence at all. What, my niece, you're here? I'd come down and welcome you myself, except our mountain home is crawling with invaders, as you've probably observed. So we are at the summit, like a bunch of turtles hiding in their shells. You see the size of that terrible Typhon, my niece? It has been so long since last we fought that I dare say he's grown still larger in the intervening time. And sneakier as well. All of that shaking here, it was from him. Oh, Kronos warrants every bit of justice you dispensed and more, my niece. I was already angry with him after everything he'd done, and that was prior to my realizing that he'd unleashed terrifying Typhon on us all. You with niece? Strange things have happened since the other night. Good things if you're not one of our enemies. We think perhaps you cut old Kronos down to size, but he just grows right back, as I recall. Return for now to more familiar depths, I see. Well, don't feel bad. The surface world is not for everyone. Although the risen dead increasingly pretend it is for them. That wily old Titan Kronos, I won't sink to calling him my father. We had it out with him before, a while back. Thought we had settled it for good. Ah, but we were young and foolish then. Zeus, he says you made it all the way up to our palace, niece, and sent the monster Typhon howling to the earth. Forgive my absence. All too many water bodies to defend. We've all been counting on you, little niece, but still, I'd not expected you could take on Kronos and prevail. I thought at best you'd keep him busy for a while. You must be very strong, like me. You somehow did it, niece. Typhon is gone. There is no longer any trace of him up here. So now to do the same to Kronos, then? Go on, let's give him everything we've got. Kronos surrendered to us, niece. You must have heard you helped deliver him. Yet there remains some mess that must be cleaned. I cannot follow what he rambled on about, but if you simply need my boons, then here.
Apollo's light.
Not swimming in dangerous waters with such antics, niece. If you so wish to see what lurks in these depths, fine.
I'm sorry, Uncle Poseidon. I need to calm him down. Full.
To fry. Oh, right, because you picked the fight with me. Though, does this mean I lost? What is this about having to confront Kronos in other times, and even Typhon too? I'll not pretend to understand, but if this is the cost of peace, I'll pay my share without a second thought. Night after night, victory after victory! Ha ha! You're making all of this look rather easy, niece. Well then, sail on, and may my blessing make things easier still. When we first met, I promised terrible revenge for what had happened to your kin, and I think what we've done would qualify. So what if Kronos wasn't permanently slain? Neither was old Hades, after all. Now that's a trim ship with the underworld boatman at the helm. Perhaps I ought not call him Underworld Boatman anymore, or he's become a proper captain now. I'll have to keep the currents clear for him. Terrible Typhon left his imprint on this mountainside, of that you can be sure. Even our palace buckled under his immeasurable weight. But in the end, our palace stands, not he. You have wounded me, my niece. Not physically, of course, but mentally. Such wounds as heal only with revenge. Fear not, niece. All my anger's washed away as quickly as it swelled. That's emotions for you. The seas themselves are simpler to control. Perhaps some of the newfangled boons we've offered haven't always swept you off your feet, but we do still have certain older blessings closer to the ones your brother used to get. Why, here's a few right now. How fares my trusty elder brother? Is his home redecoration going well? Hades and I, we never used to talk too much since he moved underneath the earth. But now's the time for us to change all that. The Cyclops Polyphemus bars your passage to the channel coming through the countryside. That spoiled sport. Once played a little jape to make him think he was my son, and he's been sore about it since. Ah, there you are. Boy, good as I again, good niece. Although presumably you must have known, as likely all the unmarked packaging concealing this boon was soaked all the way through. Clearly greater strength than that belonging to Lord Zeus, my niece, is his combined with mine. Lightning can surge across my waters even faster than it ravages the land. And now my kingly brother and I grant our terrifying might to you.
We lend our terrifying might to you, that is, Melinoe. For our family is a partnership, and we give as well as take. Now go and use our united strength to take back what's ours.
A little something to soothe the senses, Uncle Poseidon. I know it's hardly the occasion now, but isn't there always some cause to celebrate?
You praise your uncle, and your uncle, why? He thinks it's really great. I think it's great, that is, that you would think of gifts in times like these. You've some experience with witchery, fine, but you have much to learn about the fishing arts. That you have demonstrated interest is the first step toward mastery. Catching a huge variety of water denizens is the next.
This one's for you, Uncle. May you shake all our foes from the land, and your seas swallow them, that they rue the day they rose against us.
Of all the many sacrifices I've been receiving as of late, and there have been a lot, yours have been the very best of all, my niece. You set aside such ample time to fish has not been lost on me, my niece. And you caught more types of water denizens than I can easily count. You already have my finest blessings. You now also have my deep respect.
Our Uncle Poseidon here tends to give counsel more than any of our kin, perhaps believing volume of advice is tied to quality. What ought to be our current course, Uncle?
Our current course ought to be strict toward our foes, where we can smash them like a tempest does a ship. Ah, but I feel all fired up and fit for battle. Come to think of it, I always get this way when my good nephew Ares is around. You got past Polyphemus before, you can do it again, can't you, my niece? Once you make it past the docks, it's a straight shot down the channel to Olympus. Treacherous waters, yes, but I can help you navigate, I'm sure.
Lord Poseidon, so many mortals know you as the Earthshaker, for the land and sea alike bend to your will, but I'm so deeply fortunate to know you as my uncle. I won't forget your kindness and spirit.
You needn't waste your nectar on me, niece. Not like I can drink it all the way from here. Perhaps that's just how it is with offerings. Mortals, they leave us strips of fresh cooked meat and things like that. What was I on about? It once took 6 of us to bring the Titan Kronos down. Myself, your father, Brother Zeus, his lovely Hera, Demeter, and Hestia as well. We'd mighty weapons for the job and everything. Sailors know the sea can be a moody mistress indeed. And you know why, my little niece? Because I can be a moody mister. There I go, fighting attacking my kin again when I ought to turn my wrath against our common enemy, who is our kin as well.
I heard the tales of my father's brothers long before we met, Uncle, and you're as mighty and courageous as they say. But I also feel as though you've been looking out for me. Thank you for making me feel welcome and safe.
Such a voyage we have had, haven't we, niece? And you're not even in my same vicinity. Just how it is with relatives. They're with you even when they're not. Know that I'm with you too, and always making certain that the coast is clear. At least after you find one of my boons. You brave the waters in the Rift of Thessaly. A nautical experience not for the faint of heart. Fraught as it is with deathless ships hell-bent on your family's destruction, may you have smoother sailing there next time.
Dear Uncle Poseidon, this offering of sweet ambrosia is for you. My father must have been so fortunate to have grown up with such a big-hearted and caring brother. May all your seas and lands soon know tranquility again.
However, did you find such an extravagance amid our tempestuous times, niece? All I expected you to do was furiously fight, but you have done much more. I move the earth itself, yet you move me. But you've given Kronos something to really think about. You're headed back our way. First an underworld victory, and next perhaps one here. Such is the smuggler's life. Word has reached me that you clashed with Skilla and the Siren followers. So that's where they ended up. They once were the torment of many a sailor till I took care of them. That scoundrel Prometheus got a proper punishment from you last night, Athena says. We've been unable to subdue him, as he's sneaky like the forces he commands. But now you've drawn him out. And on the world movement, he got sail to this mountaintop. Unless he fashions for himself a craft that sails on air, he shall be relegated to my waters. But how then did he get his goods up here?
Proud family, this one. Uncle Poseidon here forgoes full armor on account that he's too quick and too thick-headed. Thick-skinned, I mean to say. Ain't that the case, Uncle?
Come, nephew, you know how much I value your craft. Even if I'd not be caught dead wearing much of it myself. It's just, only a coward goes to battle clad in plating head to toe. A coward far more likely to withstand his wounds, but still. As much as I do welcome this now gentler Father Kronos, who seems less desirous to see our home destroyed, I still am wary of that old coot. He's been cooperative, though. Ahoy, my little niece. I'm here with the spectacular Queen Hera, fairest wife of my distinguished brother, and all that. Shame I have never found myself a perfect mate as she. You'd bless us if I did, wouldn't you, Hera?
Oh, I'll assuredly bless you and your beloved mate, whomever they may be, Poseidon. Perhaps when all of this is over, you may resume your search in earnest. But until such time, get your mind out of the gutter.
An age of mortals is to come. Not if I open up a few more rifts, it won't. The earth itself can swallow all of those ungrateful little outs if the seas don't do it first. Welcome to my boundless, terrifying seas, my niece. Unfortunately, teeming with invaders now. Got my hands full dealing with them, if you must know. We'll see if you can break through their blockade. You know, niece, the Cocytus River flowing through those musty woods of yours is quite the fishing spot. You'd be doing all those river denizens a favor getting them out of there. I was upset when first I heard the fates decided they would change things up on us. Have my brothers and I not ruled our realms with strength and gusto? But no use in fighting prophecy, though I may still complain. Friendly bit of advice, you turn your back on the sea, you're going to regret it. And the sea in this case is myself.
Mistakes were made.
I got a little heated there, I think, but I've cooled off. No lasting harm, though to be fair, my blessing here won't last too long either. At least you made the awful Typhon's life more difficult last night, my niece. He almost crushed you like a shellfish, didn't he? But you created just enough annoyance that we pushed him back after you ran away, or whatever you did. Could have discovered by now all my many boons. I'm always thinking about more, of course. Used to have lots of different ones, if you must know. but times have changed, and Brother Zeus says we must concentrate. Did you like our fortress at this mountain's peak? It once stood proud and alabaster white before sinister Typhon corrupted it with all his crime and brood. But it's a sturdy structure and held fast so far. Ah, my niece, you ought to know that elder goddess Demeter and I, we may jeer and jest at one another, but it's never out of spite. Isn't that right, dear foster sister?
Oh, Poseidon, you needn't lie to young Melinoi like that. It sends a terrible impression, and may make her hold you in as much contempt as do I. But let's cooperate for now. Why not?
When next you sail across the rift, know this. I shall do my utmost to ensure water current speeds you mightily along. Though how to do it without benefiting the opposing ships? All that you look upon, both land and sea, that's my domain, you know? As long as you don't look up toward the heavens, that's the territory of the Uncle Zeus. Though I got the better share, I think. It's good to have your brother back, my niece. How he would scurry through your father's underworld like a rat fleeing a sinking ship. But now that ship is bound to be repaired. And it'll be a fine ship after all is said and done. Vast is my knowledge of the sea, and even still it has its many mysteries. For instance, how can such a horrifying monster as Charybdis come from such a wondrous place? And what's it doing in my rift, besides gorging itself? Our powerful automaton defenses that Hephaestus has been busy churning out are excellent at killing anything that moves. So don't take their behavior as a personal affront. We weren't counting on you getting all the way up here. Surprise! You are the fortunate recipient of my almighty boon, which means the legions of Kronos are in for an even bigger surprise, and not the good kind. Olympus gutted like a fish. Used to be all sorts of nymphs and such that had a standing invitation here to make themselves at home. Surely they'll return once the dust settles a bit. What is that creature with you there? A cat? You should know something about cats, niece. They hate water. And yet those fools require it to live. Perhaps that cat knows better, though, if it has the sense to follow you through hell. What I would like to know, my niece, is many things, such as just how did devious Prometheus slip from his bonds? Ah, these titans. We can't seem to get rid of them for good. But we can douse the flames they stole, at least. We do appreciate your intervention, though we've others pitching in. Such as stout-shouldered Heracles. You've seen him lately, yes? Even upon our snowy mountain here. I like you better, but he's good, I'll give him that. There's enough rainfall in your whereabouts? Oh, you should see old Demeter and Zeus fight over who's responsible. I merely watch and laugh, for either way, it's more water for me. Most of you underworld gods are more than welcome on Olympus here when we're not at war, but not Eris. Her antics ruined one too many feasts, and now she flaps about our borders, mocking us and making matters worse. What is it about this night, my niece? Our foes all seem to have redoubled their efforts, even re-tripled in some cases, I dare say. As long as it's all due to your strange underworld practices, according to our little Artemis. Right on that very spot once stood a massive army headed for our mountain, niece. So I just split the earth right under them. So now we have a massive navy to contend with, and contend we shall. I like to keep up with current events, and I hear you gave that loudmouth Scylla and her siren hangers-on quite the performance of your own. Too bad their godlike nature means they can't be killed, but they can certainly be shamed. I take back all the horrid things I said regarding cats. For yours is an excellent fisherman. Fisher cat. The point is, I'd not known such creatures could appreciate the sea, which means they can be appreciated by me. Oh, I haven't seen old Hestia this energized in ages, niece. And now her fiery ability is yours. As to whoever said that fire and water don't mix, I'm here to prove them wrong. Have you yet come to know Golden Apollo, niece? He's so well known and loved among the mortals that he had no choice but to involve himself in our most recent family affair, bending to mortal pressure like a bow. Ha!
Come now, Uncle. I don't yield to pressure quite so easily. I just knew this situation would be more than you could handle on your own. We're not just family, we're a team, aren't we?
Quaking on Olympus finally ceased. One of many benefits to awful Typhon being cast away. Apparently, you have to face him somewhere still. At least some hallucinated remnant of him. Well, I'm glad I don't.
The Forge of the Heavens.
Come on, little niece. It's like you pick against me every single time. It cannot possibly be worth it to incur my wrath. You just wiped the floor with all of those half-mins. And just like that, my furies ebbed away as well. Your father never told me that his realm had all those twisting passageways right next to my domain. A drainage system of some sort, is it? Pouring right into my waters? Oh, I'd have words for Hades about this. Those watery horrors you face, I just want you to know they're not my fault. I don't abide such monsters in my realm, and so they sneak inside the underworld to take their rancor out on you. We have powerful defenses on the ground, but face attackers from the skies as well. Harpies, dragons, more. Also this little winged mortal fellow buzzing all about. Brother Zeus near bolted it before we realized that he was on our side. One thing about me, niece, is I have a keen eye for amphibians. That one with you there is a fine specimen indeed. Dislikes briny waters, but no beast is perfect. I see you want my blessing still, except a little less than that one you just took. And you want it after a very rousing fight. I shall count this one as an honest mistake on your part, for I can fathom no other explanation for what transpired here. No point in holding back even a smidge when we're in such a serious predicament as there. So here, some of my raw, unbridled power ought to tide you over, I should think.
Thunderous power.
Now, strictly speaking, niece, you chose correctly in deferring to my brother Zeus, but I must still save face. Oh, this little fishy can bite back. Perhaps I shouldn't be rewarding you for this, but I just cannot help myself.